This 07 997 911 Turbo came to me as a dedicated track car. It had been crashed on the racetrack and I rebuilt the entire thing, even swapped the tub to a non-crash tub. It took me about a year to complete it and I've been driving it ever since, but it's been plagued with issues that just pop up every time I fix something. If I fix one thing, something else breaks, rinse, repeat. I really do love this car and want it to be perfect, but it has been driving me nuts, and making it perfect, honestly, at this point almost seems impossible. It really is 100% true what they say. The cheapest Porsche is really the most expensive Porsche, and that's definitely true with BMWs as well. But I just keep buying all the cheapest ones I can. I bought the cheapest E30 M3 I could find. I bought the cheapest 996 I could find, the cheapest 997 I could find, the cheapest G80 I could find. So I'm not telling you it's a good idea. No, I am still like way in the black on this car. I don't even know if I have 40 grand into it, but that's with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of man hours swapping chassis. Now on the 996 Turbo, I lost my ass on that car. I had like 80 grand into it and sold it for 45. But this thing has just been nickel and diming me to death, and that story continues in this video. It's finally time. I'm redoing the entire suspension on my 997 Turbo, and that's because, well, it's been clunking and hollering and making all sorts of noises, well, basically since I've owned it. After all, this was a pretty much dedicated track car you could drive on the street, and now it's 100% a street car that, who knows, maybe one day we'll see the track. It's got a whole bunch of upgraded suspension components on it, but a lot of them are shot and worn out as the car was obviously used on the track, and it's sat for years and years and years, and that's never good for bushings and components like that. So I've got a whole slew of stuff from Renline, and most importantly, new wheels and tires. This is gonna be a complete transformation of this car. I'm so excited. This stuff has been sitting around here for months, but I've been busy with the other projects. So it's time to dial this thing in. Let's get to it. Oh, crap. It's doing that thing again where the brakes are sticking. See, why? Got a check engine light. That's awesome. You see what I mean? This thing just can't ever be happy. Time to fix the brakes. When I first got this car running and driving, the brakes were locking up, which I deemed to be from a bad adjustment between the master and the brake pedal. I loosened it up and all was well, until the last time I drove it, where it did the exact same thing. There are a few different items that could cause this, but I'm going to start with the most obvious and the easiest, the master cylinder. I'm hopeful that this will fix it, because if it's not this, then it could be the brake booster or the ABS unit, but this seems to be the most logical. I can't find my turkey baster, so I'm just gonna have to do the best I can with what I got, trying not to spill brake fluid everywhere. Oof. All right, not terrible. Initial instinct would say it's a brake caliper failure or a brake line failure, but all those things are brand new. The calipers are rebuilt, the rotors, the pads, the lines, the fluid, everything is new. Made quite the mess there, shockingly. Trying not to waste this brake fluid because it is brand new, like everything else in the braking system. Let me just make sure it's not currently locked up. Nope, they seem totally fine. Since I'm going to be rolling around under the car, fun little side project here. Instead of replacing my old floor creeper, I just got some new casters from Amazon. It works way better now. And then I painstakingly went around and bled each caliper. Well, I bled the brakes. I didn't do the ABS bleed yet, mainly because, well, I don't know how to. So right now it's in neutral, parking brake is off. Rolls just fine. Without a pedal. It's not great yet, but it's pretty decent. And I can still roll it. So that's a good start. It might have been a good start, but as you can tell by the footage, it's the next day here and I'm doing it all over again. Try as I might, I just couldn't get a good pedal in this thing even after a short drive. I'm gonna try the ABS brake bleeding procedure. That's one thing I've never done on this car. I didn't know there were 2 different horn pitches. Anyway, I need to focus on what I'm actually doing here. So when I try to bleed a wheel individually, nothing happens. It's almost like the system knows that they are all bled correctly. I just have a feeling it's not fixed. I don't know why. Ooh, I definitely lost my pedal. I think I have a lot more bleeding to do. I still wasn't getting a pedal, so bleeding it for the 5th time, would this be the charm? God. Guess it would help if the jack wasn't in the way. Weird, once you get the jack stand out of the way, the wheel fits just fine. Now time to see if it's fixed. All right, let's see what that brakes feel good, pedal feels good, as long as it doesn't lock up. Smooth rolling, but it also rolled smooth for like 6 months, and, until it didn't. The good news is the brakes are not sticking at all. The bad news is they're also not bled at all. I think it's better. Yeah, that's definitely better, because before it wouldn't hold like pressure at all when the engine was running. Everybody watching this video likely has a phone and likely has a car. I hope you have a car. Why else would you watch my videos?
I'm not that interesting.
And if you've had those things, you've got to download Upside. It gets you cash back on essentials like gas, groceries, restaurants, etc.
The G80's empty on gas because, well, I've been beating on it pretty heavily, so it hasn't been getting the best fuel mileage, though it can on the highway. So I'm going to use this opportunity to get cash back using Upside.
And it's 100% real cash back. No annoying point system or anything like that. You can use it at over 100,000 gas station, grocery stores, and restaurants. All you have to do is claim an offer for whatever you're buying on Upside, pay as usual with your credit or debit card, follow the steps in the app, and get paid. And with Upside, I'm getting 23 cents back a gallon right here in this fill-up, which adds up to a lot. I only put a few gallons of gas in the G80 and I got $1.50 back. So just imagine doing this every time you get gas. To find out how much you could earn, check the link in the description to download the Upside app and use code MattRoss to get an extra 25 cents back for every gallon on your first tank of gas. Or scan the QR code here to claim this offer.
This thing has not gotten a bath in forever. Forgot how good it looks.
I really don't know what fixed it, guys. I did it for hours and hours and hours. I was bleeding and bleeding, but I got it. And I just took it for a test drive and the brakes did not lock up at all. They're feeling better than they've ever felt. I'm still not convinced the master cylinder was a problem, but for now, it's fixed. Oh, f***. Of course I didn't plug that in. Why would I do that? 1 million screws later. Oh, I hope I don't have to be in here anytime soon for anything. Nothing like a good cleaning to celebrate your success on beating your car into submission. And thankfully, with that out of the way, I can move on to the fun stuff, suspension work. I guess the term fun is pretty relative. This should be the last time these wheels and tires are ever on this car. And I really, really like Apex. I love their wheels, but I'm just kind of over the black. Plus, these are 18s. I want to step up to 19s with bigger and wider tires as well. You guys should already know, got a whole slew of goodies from Renline. It's gonna completely change this entire suspension. We're not just installing a couple arms here and there. I mean, almost everything is getting replaced. All 4 GT3 style lower control arms. And the control arms are only the beginning of this project. There's so much more included.
This is nearly every bearing, bushing, and control arm that you can replace on a 997, and everything's being upgraded with the best of the best Redline parts.
Very similar to what I did on my 996 turbo, and I'm going to start on the front end and just get to tearing that apart. I think the rear end is actually the more complicated part of this process. If you listen carefully, you can hear the noise or the movement in this lower control arm. And that's that lower ball joint down here. Having the right tool always makes all the difference. So this is clearly all loosey-goosey. These are good arms too, the RSS. You can rebuild these completely, but I'd prefer just to go with the tried and true Redline.
The clunking noise I was getting when I either hit the brakes or accelerated, I believe, can mostly be attributed to the ball joints in these front control arms. Another part I have to install on the front end are new tie rod ends, but it's actually a bump steer correction kit as well.
Got to reuse this guy. And I'm also keeping all these shims because I don't know what they're going to need when they align this thing. Name a better sound than that. I don't think there is one. So I thought I was all done with the front and could put it all back together, but it turns out I need to get a spring perch because I don't want to use the stock top hats because I'm going to have the same problem I had before with it clunking around on there. So I got to order that up, but in the meantime, hopefully I can get the rear completely done.
If you do any kind of research on coilovers on these cars, everyone has this problem with the springs binding. So I tried thrust washers and bearings and other things that people suggested, but it didn't work. I thought it did, but after a while it didn't. What I actually need is more like a thrust bearing up top with a spring perch hat. Problem is that's really hard to find and or not produced anymore.
I mean, this is pretty much good to go. I got everything loosely bolted up, so I just have to finish it up whenever I get one of these guys.
Germans being Germans, they made the rear suspension on these absolutely as complex as possible. There's not one, not two, but there's 5 separate control arms back here, plus the knuckle, plus the coilover. So while this job isn't hard, it's extremely time consuming. The front end takes about an hour at each corner. The rear end, you're looking more like at 2 hours each corner, and that's without aligning anything, and that's if everything goes smoothly, which these cars being close to 20 years old now is not a guarantee.
And here's a little trick to make sure these are exactly the same length as the ones you pulled off. Just like that. Now the jam nuts can be tightened up. Install this arm, good to go. A new rod that's the exact same size as the one I took out. Just a lot newer and prettier and not as clapped. Now before everyone goes off on me in the comments, I can fully torque these down while the car is not at ride level because there's no rubber bushing in here. It's just a bearing.
While the old junk parts start piling up, that means new parts are going in. This is a really, really satisfying job. It would just be so much better if I wasn't laying on my back doing it.
I forgot this said RSS sway bar, so that's pretty cool too.
And just like the front end, the rear end is getting a bump steer correction kit as well. And when doing this, don't forget to swap over the bracket that attaches the headlight level sensor. Getting everything in its proper place can be a bit tricky sometimes, and and sometimes that leads to mistakes.
You know, just when you think everything is going swell, and then you go and do something like this. This has to go there, but this has to go up there. Yeah, good job, idiot. Now comes the kind of tricky part where measuring bump steer. This lower control arm is 11.4 degrees. Definitely some wiggle room there. It's tricky because you have to be square. Definitely need to add some spacers to get that to match. These sway bar end links almost stick out too far because it's hitting the control arm.
Sometimes with aftermarket components, they don't always talk nicely to each other, but a little trimming on this spacer with a new bolt and a new nut will pretty quickly and easily fix this problem.
This side is complete.
And everybody talked about her. Said there must be something wrong with this girl. All she said to them was live your life just like you're young again. No, don't you cry. Just get back up again. 'Cause if you wanna laugh, then live it better. If you want love, then stay together. If you wanna smile, then
And that wraps up most of the front end and the entire rear end on both sides. The only thing I didn't replace are the thrust arms, and I've never had a problem with those things wearing out on my 996 or 997. I don't think they're under that much load, and mine are in good shape.
But there is a problem. So I ordered these Terret Engineering camber plates because the factory strut mounts with the bearing installed like this and everything, they simply don't work well with aftermarket coilovers, and I'm not the first person to figure that out.
You see, what's supposed to happen is that whole top assembly rotates like that. However, when it's under load, it doesn't happen. That ends up sticking, and then the spring rotates on there, which eventually causes pops, bangs, and rattles.
I actually ordered ground control camber plates first, but they never showed up a month later, so I canceled that and got what I should have got in the first place, the PORSCHE, because they have the strut hats already there with a bearing installed, and that's going to eliminate all of those problems that I mentioned. You can see with the bearing, this spins completely freely, so no more spring binding. Really like the camber adjustment on here, because all you do is leave those top ones loose, and then you can adjust it just like that. It also has caster adjuster, but I'm not going to mess with that unless I need to. This is more like it. Just nice, smooth range of motion, no popping and binding. No more noise, no more movement, no more play. This is a perfect front suspension.
You ever have one of those jobs that's a real pain, but you get it done and you're real happy at the end, only to find out that you skipped a step or missed a part?
Stupid mother in your f***ing hole.
Yeah, that was this job through and through. I forgot to put one of the bearing pieces in the front strut, and, well, that turned into tearing it all back apart. But you don't need to see that, so now we're going to move on to the new wheels and tires. Thankfully, the suspension is completely installed, and I'll have a link to all the parts used below. Also, I'll be selling all the used RSS stuff if anyone is interested. Oh, and the Apex wheels and tires made for a wide body with good tire pressure monitors.
Now it's time, what you guys have probably been waiting for. Hopefully you didn't skip ahead. The brand new custom wheels and tires.
I didn't want just any set of wheels either. I wanted a custom set, so I reached out to none other than Kinesis Motorsports, and they whipped me up a custom set of 19s. And I'm really excited to show you guys. I went completely differently than I've done on any other build, and I hope it's going to pay off. I went a little out of my comfort zone with these wheels and tires. I've never had anything set up quite like this. I wanted to go with a black barrel, well, just to be different, and I think it'll be a good contrast with the chalk gray. But I won't know until I get them on there. And of course, I went with the best of the best Nitto tires. These are their NT 555 G2, so they're going to provide lots of grip. And I went with a pretty big size. Not necessarily in width, it's a pretty standard width, but I went taller to fill out the wheel wells a little better and give me a little more ground clearance because I was scraping in my driveway and some other places. And the front and rear of this car is covered in carbon fiber, and I prefer to keep them from exploding.
It's a pretty aggressive wheel and tire fitment, so we'll see how it fits. I might have to take these spacers out of the rear. Sheesh. All right, I've definitely got to raise the front end up. That's for sure.
Now, if you're in team, I hate black wheels, I hate these wheels, well, just wait till the end of the video. Wait till I get them cleaned up and properly fitted before you judge them. And I'll tell you, in person, they look phenomenal. Video never does this car justice.
Lots to work on. So what I also did was I took these shims out of the lower control arms. I was maxed out on positive camber. So it was still, this side was like -2 something, and that's the least amount of camber I could do. So what I'm going to do is, by removing this, it's bringing the lower control arm in, eliminating camber, so then I can adjust more with the new strut mounts up top. And that's also going to reduce my track width and make these wheels and tires fit just a little bit better. I'm probably going to add a spacer as well, but I got to see how it looks now because I also raised it a little bit. That's much better. I need to get this dialed in before I take it for alignment. We'll do some measuring now. We're at about a ½ degree of negative camber, which isn't enough. So I want to make this about factory spec. Maybe a little more aggressive. Also, I've got the wheel straight and we are crazy towed out in the front, especially on this side. This is the wheel 100% straight. The rear actually doesn't look too bad.
There's a lot of adjustment in all points of this suspension, adjustment that I simply can't make perfect here at home in the garage, but I'm going to do the best I can.
Obviously, this is not a full alignment, but I got each side at about -1.1, either both about -1.1, -1.2 degrees camber. So that is money. And I did gain a good bit of clearance here with everything that I just did. Now it should be actually, well, drivable to be able to get it to the dealership. I was pulling it out of the garage and you could feel the tires just fighting each other.
To dial the toe in even further front and rear, I got a scary looking alignment kit from Amazon, which of course didn't fit.
Now I know this isn't going to be the most accurate because I have the car jacked up and these things are obviously wobbly, but I can get it close enough to where I won't wreck the tires on the drive to the alignment shop. Ooh, I almost forgot. Grabbed a pair of 7mm spacers for the front. And that's just, well, for a tiny bit better fitment and for the fact that this wheel and tire setup and the old setup is like, I don't even know if I could fit a playing card between the wheel and the strut. There actually might be some rub marks on there, like it was that close.
I set the front toe at pretty much exactly 0, and then I moved on to the rear because I wanted to do the same back there.
fun fact, when I put this car together, I lost that top bolt, and I, for the life of me, couldn't find it. The top bolt that holds in this lower subframe. Well, I finally found it, so I can put that in. I honestly forgot about it. It like rolled under my desk or something. It was weird. And now we got 2 bolts in there. That makes me feel better.
A brand new set of wheels and tires deserves a nice cleaning as well, and I wanted to give you guys the full effect of how good these things look. I hope this helps, because the video just doesn't do the whole setup justice. And with the project completed, a test drive was certainly in order.
Steering feels good. Brakes are squeaking because, well, got a little rust on them from washing it. All feels good so far. No weird noises or anything like that. No more clunking. Nice. And while my alignment certainly isn't perfect, the steering wheel is not straight, the car's driving straight. That's really all I can expect based off of my quick alignment at home. Rides nice too. I'd say it rides softer than before because, well, I've got more rubber bushings than before, fatter tires, and I raised the ride height. Now I can properly enjoy this car. It's not pulling one side or the other, so I'm confident enough in driving this a little bit and taking it to the alignment shop. Such a good car until it wants to throw a hissy fit, which is more often than it should be. That's what you get when you get a cheap Porsche. Really cheap anything, but especially a cheap BMW. Remember that project earlier with new casters on the creeper? I ran over my tricep twice, like pinched it in there under the car. That hurt like a mother. Speaking of taking it somewhere, as you can see, the windows are down. It's 85 degrees out. I'm sweating. It's because the AC doesn't work in this thing. I got it recharged last year, or charged up for the first time. It worked for a day and then stopped working. So I'm guessing there's got to be another massive leak somewhere. Even though I already fixed the one leak, I'm not even going to try to deal with it. I'm going to have the alignment shop fix the AC at the same time. And then this car should be perfect until inevitably the next thing breaks. All right, before you go, whether you like the wheels and tires or not, would you like them more with polished lips? Because I am considering that. I'll probably rock the black for a while. I do really like it, but I might swap them out for polished lips because I don't think it'll be that much work and it would change up the look a lot. But please let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next one.